Hey team, how are we going? Let's just do a quick sound check and then we'll get started.
Hey team.
Oh yeah, that's working. Welcome guys. Sorry I'm a bit delayed. I had to read a story time for my kid. Just took a little bit longer than expected, and then of course getting him ready was a bit of a challenge, as playing Fall Guys before bedtime is never a good idea. All right, so it's quite a few people. Welcome to everybody that's here. Where is he? I'm here, Oliver. I'm here. Okay, cool. So, as I said to you guys, I'm gonna go through 5 questions today. I've got it here. Like literally, I was sitting around working on it earlier. There is an achieved, there is an excellence, a merit. So 2 excellence questions, 2 merit questions, and 1 achieved question for today. If you want to have an idea, this is basically what I call parallel, kind of like questions very similar to 2019 paper, day A or day 1, section 2 or question 2. All right, so the questions are going to be very similar to that. Now I just need to figure out, I know I didn't, yesterday I was kind of playing around with the questions, trying to get it running, but let me just make sure I can actually get the questions right this time. Okay, cool. So as usual guys, what I'll do is I'll just put the questions up and then we'll kind of work through it, all right? So if A is equal to BC squared minus D, find, what is it going to be? B. No, let's do C actually. No, this is an achieved question. So find B in terms of A, C, and D. Now this question here is worth an achieved question, so give it a go. I'll give you guys maybe like 90 seconds to maybe do this in. Yeah, so give you guys 90 seconds to actually do this, and then we'll actually kind of work through it. Oh, my moderator does not like some of your comments. I'll give you guys another 30 seconds and then I'll actually go through the answer for this. Oh. I hope you put a bracket around that song. You gotta have brackets, for the win. Otherwise, you're gonna miss out. I mean, I guess when you're typing it, it doesn't matter. But like when you are actually doing it in the real paper, you want to make sure you want to put that B. What do we got? Hey, Croza, welcome. Negative A minus D divided by C squared. Zach, I think you've got to be careful with that rearrangement, buddy. All right, I'm going to go through this question, guys. Now, we want to try and make B by itself. One thing that you can do with algebra, especially with equations like this, is if you can actually swap equal sign, like the right-hand side to the left-hand side and left-hand side to the right-hand side, and you don't have to worry about swapping the signs. Now, think about it like this. If I had written 3 plus 2 equals to 5. Now, because 3 plus 2 equals to 5, this is the same thing as saying 5 is equal to 3 plus 2. All right, like I'm not changing any signs or anything like that. I'm just swapping the equation around. So with that in mind, what I could do is I could actually say B squared minus D equals to A, because all I've done is I've just flipped the equation, so I don't have to worry about that negative b that Toby is putting there. So Toby, for that one, you've actually got to make sure you have positive b as your answer. You can't actually have negative b in your final answer. So what we got is we're gonna do bc squared is equal to a. D, because it's minus, when you bring it over to this side, will become plus. And then finally, b is equal to a plus d divided, the whole thing is divided by c squared. Now this is the one of the answers that you could get, and you have to get this answer correctly to get an achieved for this question. Okay, let me know if you have any questions about it. Otherwise, then we could move on to the next question. So usual, I'm putting my three lines there. So if you do have any questions on a particular line, you can feel free to ask. Which class are you? So two things. Aryaman, we don't need brackets for this. The only reason I was telling Zong to have brackets was because I said, what was it I said? Because he was typing the answers. Because he was typing the answers, that's why he needed the brackets. Toby, which class are you from? Why can't you do b equals a plus d minus c squared? Okay, you can't actually do a plus d minus c squared, and the reason for that, Samuel, is because in here, in line number 2, b is actually getting multiplied by c squared. If you think about it, when we write bc squared like that, what we're really saying is b times c squared. So because c squared is actually getting multiplied, when we bring it to the opposite side, you got to actually divide it. So that's why you can't just subtract that as minus c squared. Is it alright if I rooted the a plus b d? I'm assuming a plus d. I don't think you can do that. Sorry, I can't actually recognize your name there. But you did ask, is it alright if I rooted the a plus b? Now you can't actually do that in this case. So we are not going to actually go towards it. But the next question definitely will start playing with a bit of square roots there. That's hilarious. Arman, I'm at OJC. An example, you can't do square root. When you're in another scenario, can you take a square root first then divide? Okay, that's a really kind of good question, Ali, because I'm going to do a follow-up question to this, which is an excellence question. And then you can have a look at what happens when we are dealing with kind of like square root questions. All right, let me just grab this is the problem. I wrote it in pencil on a white paper. So we've got minus 9c squared equals 4d squared plus 16gk squared. And then, no, that's not it. Sorry, that's the wrong question. I knew I did that wrong. Let's try this question here. ab squared minus 4c squared equals 9d squared plus 25eb squared. Find b in terms of a, c, d, e. Yeah, nah, a plus d, you won't be able to square root that at all. Because if you put a square root sign in front of a plus d, you've also got to square the other side as well. But look, again, I'm sorry, I don't know what your name is. But try question number 2 and see what happens. So question number 2, you've got to have b by itself. And as you can see, you're working with b squared. So you will have to deal with square root of b at some point. Now I'm going to give you guys about 2 to 3 minutes for this question. Maybe a little bit more. But if you're stuck after a minute, just give a yell out. And I guess what the question here is asking is ultimately after all the rearranging, your final answer should look something like this. B, the only thing on the left hand side should be just the letter B. You can't have B squared, you can't have negative B, it has to be positive B. Now this is an excellence question, guys, and what you need to remember is that you've got to kind of just give things a go. All right, like even if you are like I'm like, oh, I don't know how to do this, do like 1 or 2 lines and you're well onto your way to kind of getting an idea of what to do for this question. Sami, I did post on my Instagram and community, I can't remember when, but it's like, I think it's either tomorrow or Thursday. No, tomorrow I think is level 2 algebra, and then Thursday I'm doing level 3. So bro, who are you? Bring all the B's to one side and get rid of everything else to the other side. I mean, that's your starting kind of point there. All right, bring all the B's to the left hand side. Everything that doesn't have the B, just get rid of it to the right hand side, and then you should be okay. All right, I might just do the first step here. No worries, but I still can't pronounce your name. I'm sorry. As much as it sounds so rude not to pronounce your name, but I can't read those characters. All right. So what we're going to do is, as I said to you guys, we want to bring B squareds together. All right. Anything that does not have B squared attached to it, we're going to get rid of it to the right hand side. Now I'm going to go a little bit slow with this question. So the first thing I'm going to do is I want to bring this entire thing to the left hand side, and if I do that, it's going to become minus 25 EB squared. I told you guys I'm going to go a little bit slow in this. Now what I'm going to do is I would like to get rid of the 4c squared. And of course the 4c squared, because it's negative, when it goes to the other side it becomes positive. Cool. Now at this point we can kind of see that we've actually got B squared here as a common factor. Now this particular trick is very common for these types of questions, and also in level 2 as well. In level 2 algebra, sometimes you get this question where they'll ask you to rearrange and X is on both sides. You kind of bring it all together and then you do a factorize. Like, because B squared is a common factor, you can take it out and you have A minus 25E. And now, because B squared is actually getting multiplied with that bracket, we can rewrite this as B squared equals to 9D squared plus 4C squared. And this entire thing, because it's getting multiplied, we're going to divide it in the denominator. A minus 25E. And finally, our last step, because we want to have B by itself, we're going to put down B is equal to square root of this entire thing. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 lines for this excellence question. Grades wise, we are looking at excellence is for the last part. If you get up to this part here, you're looking at a merit. One valid step leading to both terms involving k squared being on b squared on one side of the equal sign. Oh wow, so you could potentially even get achieved potentially here at this step, line number 2. All right, I'll leave that up there. I'm not going to go through every one of your guys' answers because I'm sure you've tried your best to write it, and sometimes like when you write it, it's very easy to misunderstand what you've written. but hopefully you guys can actually have a look at my answer and have a look at your answer and see if you're happy with it. And of course, if you have any questions, pop it on the chat. Now, Vansh, you will be able to, Vansh, because like always think about it like this, right? Anytime they ask you like these types of questions where they say, hey, make this in terms of another thing, you have to have a look at where that letter is and try and bring all that letter together, and then theoretically you should be able to factorize. So it is one of those bread and butter questions. It's just, you've just got to kind of recognize that this is what you're doing. And I still don't know this person's name, but yes, that is probably one of the easiest way to solve this question. Yeah, DBZ Hecti, I agree. It is one of the more easy excellence questions, but like, because it's just a rearranging question. So if it's one letter, then we can root it, and if it's two or more, then we need a factor or divide. Ali CR, if it's one letter squared, then you would do square root. But if there's the two letters are spread out in your equations, then you have to factorize, and you have to go. Clover's got a really good question. Would you need to write the plus or minus after the equal sign? I would recommend it. I know that in the answer schedule, they don't actually penalize you for plus or minus. But in level 2, you have to put the plus or minus. But in level 1, they don't actually penalize you for that. Best advice for MCAT as a year 10? Doesn't matter if you're year 10 or year 9, just practice. That's all I can say. What if the question already has a fraction? Okay. I might need to have a look at a question, but like I think, what's my next question? Now my next question is slightly different. But even if it's a fraction, then what you do is you just kind of get rid of all the, sort out all the denominators, and then you should be good to go. Hey Joe Channel, welcome. Akali, that's a loaded question. I'm not going to actually answer that, especially not on a live stream. Definitely a loaded question. Citizen 17, I think you can sit it as many times as you want it, to be honest. Like, all right, guys. Next, hang on. I've got. So, what would I do if in line 5 to 6 it was minus b squared instead of? Okay, that's a really good question. If you end up with this, like minus b squared, 9d squared plus 4c squared, blah blah blah. I don't know. I mean, I don't know how you got minus b squared, but if you did get minus b squared, if you did get negative, what you could do, like hypothetically speaking. I'm just going to put a different question here. So if you get a negative here, then what you do is you change it to positive. To change it to positive, all you have to do is you could just do this. It's a bit of a shortcut. It's a cheeky little shortcut, but it still does work. You could actually go -1 times 7e squared plus f squared over g squared minus h squared. So you could do that. And then put that as the whole as a square root of the whole thing. Bro, who are you? If you're about to practice every day from today till the actual MCAT, if you watch through all of those resources that I have, I am fairly certain you should be aiming for an excellence. All right, because if you're ready to put up that much amount of work, then don't just aim for a merit, aim for an excellence. All right, question 3 of the night. We are going to be doing a merit question. Oh, no, sir. Actually, no, we can do this one first, and then I'll do the other one. Citizen 17, I did. I was sitting in the car today waiting for my kid for something, and I had like about 20 minutes. So I pulled out the question and literally, oh, you can't see it. It's quite bright. Oh no, there we go. That's my working. Those are all the questions. And then this question here, I was trying to make sure it actually works, and it does work. So I'll actually, so that I don't actually have to struggle today. Now, I'm going to be honest with this particular question. I guarantee it. There's a particular mistake people do, and every time, it doesn't matter how many people I work with, there is there's always someone that does a mistake in this question. In fact, I promise you, like, I would love to see some answers up here just to see. See, there you go, straight away. Look at that, 2 different answers. Toby's got a different answer. Ali's got a different answer. Now, Citizen, it's really easy. All you gotta do is just make sure you put the brackets. Once you put brackets, everything works out. If you don't put brackets, then I'm sorry, you're gonna have a hard time. Let's go look at that. We've had 2 answers that have just come up, and then, oh God, DBZ Hecti, stay away from the upside down barbecue table or whatever it is that you have. Stay away from that. Start learning the method I'm about to show you, because the method I'm about to show you will definitely help with higher algebra. But if you use that upside down picnic table, you're gonna get yourself into a lot of trouble at level 2 and level 3. Jeez, I know my entire fantasy team is injured. You don't have to send me a message every... This is just depressing. Oh, we got a 3rd answer. Citizen, no, I play NRL fantasy. We're up to the final bit. Hecti, it's like this. I'm sorry. I'm gonna give some grief to the science teachers. It's like those science teachers who come and say use the triangle for d v dt, and I'm just like, oh God, why would you do that? You know. But of course, that's a different story. All right, so here is how we're going to work this question. All right, now. Whenever I do these fraction questions, I give myself quite a bit of room to work with. All right, and you might be thinking, why is he giving this much group now, this much room? The first thing I'm going to do is, like, I know people get into the habit of like cross multiplying straight away and go, oh yeah, we just cross multiply and then we're all good to go. Unfortunately, that's a really kind of lazy way of doing this question, and particularly when you have like x and x squared in the denominator. Like, say for example, you have something like this, you can get into some real problems if you try to do cross multiply. So that's why it's really important to understand common factors and so on, or lowest common multiple. But basically, if you look at those 2 numbers, we've got 4 in the denominator and we've got 5 in the denominator. Now, unfortunately for this one, we do have to cross multiply, but then instead of thinking about it like cross multiply, what we're going to do is we want to change that denominator into the lowest common multiple, which is 20. So that's 20. I'm going to multiply the denominator by 5 and also the numerator by 5. So that's for the left-hand side fraction. Now for the right-hand side fraction, I'm going to do the same thing, except I'm going to multiply the denominator by 4 and the numerator by 4. Now, this is where people make the most amount of mistakes in this question. All right. Now, if you're watching this stream and you're like, I'm not even listening to any of this thing this guy says, but watch this one little part, because this is one of the most important parts which people always end up messing up. What is that? It's quite simple. When you want to actually, when you want to multiply these things, make sure you put a bracket around these things. All right, that's step 1. Step 2 is write the whole numerator down like this. We're going to go 5, 7x minus 1 minus 4 times 2x plus 3. Now, as for the denominator, we already know what the denominator is. The denominator is 20. So we're going to put that as a 20 there. Now, at this point, we actually need to expand the brackets. All right. So we're going to go 5 times that and 5 times negative 1, which is going to give us 35x minus 5 Now here's where the kicker is. Negative 4 times positive 2x is negative 8x. And negative 4 times positive 3, I'm going to put it in a different color. Negative 4 times positive 3 is actually negative 12. And this is all over 20. 35 minus 8 can be said 27x. Negative 12, negative 5 is negative 17 over 20. Now grades wise, you're looking at a merit for this grade, and I think for achieved you're probably somewhere here. And so that negative 4, a lot of people mess it up because they just go negative 4 times 2x is negative 8x, and then they just go 4 times 3, which is positive 12. It's a really common mistake people do all the time. So you've got to make sure you remember that that's something that you need to actually work on, all right? So anytime, and I'll be honest with you guys, like majority of the questions that I see as merit questions in the MCAT, what they do is they tend to have that negative. Now I'm just going to have a look at that, Toby, your question. You're right, I did multiply it by 4, but the problem is there is a negative in front of that 4, and therefore that positive 4 actually gets multiplied by that negative sign, and it becomes a negative 4. So it's something you need to be careful about, Toby. If you see a plus, then you don't really have to worry too much. But if you see a negative between two fractions, you know that that negative is going to have an impact on the final term. Like in this case, the negative is going to have an impact on the positive 3. And look, Toby, like this is a mistake. I said to you every time, doesn't matter how many times, how many people I have on a tutorial, is like I always get about half the people that get that kind of incorrect. So it's okay. I mean, that's the whole point, right? I mean, we do the practice right now to kind of understand where our mistakes are. We learn from it, and then we go, okay, when it comes to the exam time, you're like, yeah, I know where it is. So all I've done there is, who is this? 99 God. All I've done there is 35x minus 8x is equal to 27x. And then minus 5 minus 12 is equal to minus 17. If you wrote it as a positive, would you still get achieved? Vansh, are you talking about instead of minus 12, you wrote it as positive 12? Yeah, then you would be getting an achieved if you put positive 12. Toby, trust me, like if you attend like a few more of these tutorials and just keep grinding it, you're gonna get that. You probably get a merit easy, man. So don't stress too much. I mean, we've got like a month left to work on this. There's plenty of time. Is it a month? Maybe I'm wrong. Hang on. Just over 3 weeks, right? Yeah, it's still a lot of time. All right. So next question, number 4. Number four. What did I write? Where did I write it? We're doing pretty good, folks. We're doing pretty good. Number 4 is quite another common question that pops up. And this is another merit question. It's one of the easier merit questions. I'm only going to give you guys about a minute or two for that. Give it a go. Yeah, you're on the right track, citizen. I always mess it up. What's it? Hang on. While you guys do that, just... Sorry, come. There you go, Toby. I told you you're going to get one of these questions right. So this one was actually a merit question. Wow, it was a merit question. And look at that, you got a merit question already correct, which means you only need 2 more merit questions and you've got yourself a merit in this paper. All right, here we go. We're going to do this one quickly. So one thing about these types of questions, I've seen people do this. They do this, I don't know why they do it, but they always do it. They just see those x squareds and go, oh, I'm going to cancel those 2 things out. No, 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 no. Remember, whenever you see this type of question, you've got to actually factorize both of them. All right, you got to factorize the numerator, and then you got to factorize the denominator. So if you look at the top, and most of the time, guys, I'm going to be honest with you, if you don't cancel one of those brackets, you've done something wrong. So just factorize it till you get like 2 common factors at the top and bottom. Because here's the thing. If you look at the bottom of the if you look at the denominator, it's x squared minus 25. You know straight away that this is x plus 5, x minus 5. All right? And if you look at the top, we can actually take 4x as a common factor, and you're going to get x plus 5. All right? Basically, that's all it is. And then we've got x plus 5, cancel it, and you get 4x over x minus 5. Now, these types of questions, I'm not going to lie, they are probably one of your easiest merit questions you're going to get. And even if you stuff up that final answer, all right, if you can factorize either the top line or the bottom line, you could get an achieved. So keep that in mind, all right? So whenever you see this type of question and you're like, oh, I don't know how to do the top line, I got no idea how to do the top line, don't worry. Check the bottom line. See if you can do the bottom one. If you can't do the bottom one, look at the top and see if you can work on the top one. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. Chat-wise, Jamie, you got 24 days to get ready for plenty of time. Sophie vlogs, I would say absolutely. There's like, if you go into my main page, there's just tons of MCAT material for you to actually have a look at. Feel free to look at anything, and then I think you got 24 days to get ready. You'll be fine. Love the spirit there, Toby. Love the spirit. Jamie, you're not failing this. Trust me on this. You've come at like what? As I said to somebody, you know, even if you watch like half an hour of these questions every day leading up to the MCAT, you'll be fine. Level 2, Samuel, sometime later, I guess. Ali, the jump is fairly decent, I would say. But like I said, like again, I've got like tons of tutorials for level 2, and you can kind of like just work through it. Hang on. How do you put the question into the achieved part? How do you put the question into the achieved part? I don't understand your question, 99. Yeah, thanks Elijah, because like I think Sophie vlogs and Jamie, if you go to my, I'll see if I can actually show you my actual page. All right, so on my main page, this is pretty much all of the MCAT revision material. So now this is all of the old exam papers. I can't believe this is going to be annoying, but if you go to the playlist, there is exam papers like from 2013 for you to have a look at. There's like lots and lots of exam papers. Also, if you're like having a look at, these are just the skills, and then these are all the live streams that I've done right from the beginning. So it's literally like 45. Further to that, I always forget about this. The hell is my website going? Where did all these things go? They all disappear. Is it up somewhere? Oh, here we go. Let's have a look at this. So in here, in my website, if you go into live tutorials, I haven't updated this year, but these are all the tutorials that I've done so far in linear, quadratic, exponential, and just mixed materials. Now, that's all the resources that you guys actually have. You guys got a ton of resources there. to kind of work through it, and you'll be fine by the time it comes to the actual exam. That's right, Kiara, we are only doing 5 questions. We've got my next question up and then we're done. Jesus Shregus, of course you can. But don't leave it past this point, all right? Like, make sure you start kind of getting the work done. Live stream MCAT questions at the moment. I am doing 2 at the moment. I'll probably ramp it up to 3. How did I get the first part? 99 God. All I did was I just factorized the top line, and that's what I did. And same with the bottom line. I just factorized it. Joe, Monday. So Elijah, if you've got that for homework, go have a look at the 2020 video. Just search it up, MCAT 2020, and you're gonna find all of my resources. Love it, Clover, love it. All right, last question for the night, guys. I'm just gonna write it up first. By the way, this is an excellence question. Did I write the question? Geez, where did I write it? Okay, here we go. Area. Sorry, I'm just kind of like roughly doing this. Area of rectangle equals area of triangle. Find x. Now, did I do this right? For the love of God, tell me I did this right. Okay, that's all the information I'm going to give you guys. I might just copy the question just to see. This is the actual question. Let me see if this actually is going to work or not. Unbelievable. It is going to work. Yes, it does work. Okay, so let me just... Is it synced? Is it synced? Is it synced? Come on, sync, man. Sync. Pretty much, citizen. Yeah, sorry, it's just I'm trying to... Oh, there we go. So this is what the question looks like, and the only thing is... There we go. So that's all the information that's been given to you guys. Find the value of x so that the area of the right angle triangle has the same value as the area of the rectangle. Shown above, not below. By the way, this question is an excellence question. Now, remember what I talked to you guys about excellence questions, right? Just because a question is excellence doesn't mean you go, oh, it's too hard, I'm not even going to try it, okay? I don't want you guys to think like that. What I want you guys to think is like, okay, this is an excellence question. I got no idea how to do it, but I'm sure I can do a couple of things at least. Let me try. Because that is pretty much the first step that you need to do. All right? Because I'm telling you guys right now, if I say to you, like I think you gotta set up a diagram. You know, Oliver, you've got a question there. It's like, okay, how do I do it? Great question, right? Like, as you look at a question like this, it's like, how do you do it? Why don't you draw a diagram, Oliver? What is the question actually asking you? And how do you convert this to a diagram? Once you convert it to a diagram, then use the formula for area of a square and area of a triangle, and then try and work it out. All right, now here's my clue for you guys. Here's my first part of the clue. Because I've put the clue in red there, because the area of the rectangle equals area of the triangle. So, Oliver, this area of this rectangle equals the area of the triangle. So whatever the area of the triangle is the same as the area of the rectangle. Talia, you do know how to do this. Just rearrange everything so you get a quadratic that's got an x squared. Now that news is like 24 hours old, man. I want you guys to find x so that the area is equal to each other. Okay, let me show you guys this. So this is area of a rectangle, which is base times height, equals area of triangle. Area of rectangle, the formula is base times height. Area of triangle is half times base times height. Now if you look at it, the base of the rectangle is 3x minus 1. The height of the rectangle is x plus 2. The height of the triangle is x. And the base of the triangle is 10x. Does that make sense? Now, I'm going to tell you guys right now, I think one of the answers should be x equals to 2. So if it's 2 or 0.5, I think it's a 0.5. Yeah, the final answer should be x equals to 2 or 0.5. See, if you don't get those two values, then go back and check your working to see where you've kind of made your mistake. Raymond, Oliver, if you're still there, do you guys understand what's happening here? Nah, Kali, you can leave it in a fraction. Yeah, so you're fine, Akali. Like you've got 2 over 4, so that's fine. Oh, Jaden, negative 2 over 6 looks a bit off. Think you're quadratic. You've got something wrong with that quadratic equation. Nah, Jaden, nah. The final answer is actually you should be getting positive 2 or half. All right, I'm going to start working on this question now. So basically, we've got base, which is 3x minus 1, times height, which is x plus 2. On this side, we have half times base, which is 10x, times height, which is x. That's basically it. That's our quadratic equation that's actually set up. Now all we have to do is expand, bring all the terms to one side, make it into a quadratic equation, and then you should be good to go. All right. Now, as I said to you guys, the final answer should be 2.5. Now, one good thing to do is if you want to check your answers, like for example, like if you look at, I'm just gonna pick on somebody, Zach. Zach's actually put down 2 over 5 or positive 1. Positive 1, Zach. If you put x as positive 1, then go check the area of the rectangle and triangle and see if it's the same. If it's not the same, then you know your answer is actually not correct. So that's a really good way to remember. All right, so I'm going to expand these brackets. So kind of doing your FOIL, whatever it is that you guys do. We've got 3x squared plus 6x minus 1x minus 2 equals 10x squared divided by 2. 10x squared divided by 2 is 5x squared. And on this side, I've got 3x squared plus 5x minus 2. Rearranging this, I'm going to get 0 is equal to 5x squared minus 3x squared minus 5x plus 2. Simplifying this, I'm going to get 2x squared minus 5x plus 2. And of course, from here, I always say to you guys this: find the method that works for you. The only one I could do tonight. Jamie, if you actually did this question, you got an excellence. So that's pretty impressive. How did you get 10x squared? Talia, 10x times x. Because remember, x has a x times x will become x squared. Akali, you don't get penalized for fraction. Carol, if you actually did this question correctly and you got 2 and 0.5, you're looking at an excellence for this question. But anyway, let's just keep going with this. So the way I do this, 2 and 2 makes 4. And I'm looking for two numbers that multiply to 4 and add up to -5. And that's going to be -4, -1. Is it? Did I stuff this up? No, that's correct. -4 and -1. So what I'm going to get is 2x squared minus 4x minus 1x plus 2 equals to 0. And then I'm going to split this up. On this side, I've got 2x x minus 2. And then here I've got -1 x minus 2 equals to 0. So I've got x minus 2 as a common factor. 2x minus 1 is the other common factor, where 2x is here, -1 is there. X minus 2 equals to 0, or 2x minus 1 equals 0. So x is equal to +2, 2x equals +1, and then x is equal to 1 divided by 2. So those are my two answers. Now what I'm going to do is I am going to throw a whole bunch of line numbers here. And if there's any particular line that you don't actually understand, please yell out. Level 2 practice is tomorrow, Goku. Nice, Toby. Look at that. 2 from 5, but you got an excellence and a merit question correct. That's not a bad effort, Toby. Yeah, Kali, it's just trying to figure out when it's like a good time to actually cross multiply. I mean, it still works out in the end, so it's all right. It's good to hear, Devin. When we try this question again in maybe in a couple of weeks' time, hopefully can smash this through. Aryaman 14, usually it depends on the paper, because sometimes they say you got to get 2 excellence, sometimes they say you've got to get 3 excellence. So it's a little bit kind of tricky with that. Kavish, -1x is fine instead of -x. That's not a problem. But if you forget to write that, then you might. Line 14 onwards. Kiar, because when we got line 14, if you look at line 13, Kiar, we're doing two numbers that multiply and equal to 0. That means one of the brackets has to equal to 0. And so that's pretty much what I did there, Kiar. So I put x minus 2 is equal to 0, or 2x minus 1 equals to 0. Where did I get? In line 6, is it okay if I do it the other way and minus the 5x? Yep. You can do that as well in line 6. But the thing is, Jamie, then you're going to have a -2x squared, and it might get a little bit tricky to solve that. Glad to hear that, Goku. Arman, we're coming back, I think, back next Sunday. And probably we'll spend like the next 2 weeks quite a bit. I might just see on Thursday to see if maybe the level 3s might want to take a little break. Toby, for the first question, if you got an excellence correct, and if you do one more excellence question correct and 2 merits, you're well on your way to get an excellence. I'm not sure how you got 3x equals to 1, Oliver. You might just need to check your working somewhere. Nah, Talia, I'm pretty shattered today. I'm actually gonna have an early night, and I gotta preserve this voice for the next 3 months, really. Pineapple juice, lots of pineapple juice. Devin, that's just a way of factorizing those quadratic equations where x squared, the value of x squared is more than 1. I have done some previous tutorials on it, Devin. Have a look at it. Same with U99 God. Anything after line 8, you can find in my previous, I think at the start of this tutorial cycle, I think it might have been like the 2nd session or something like that. Let me just have a look. So if you're looking for that tutorial, yeah, it was on, where did we do it? We did a bit of it on 31st of July. So if you go to the 31st of July tutorial this time around, like 2023, you're gonna find that. So that should answer your question, Devin and 99. Kavish, you can have a look at the answer schedule or have a look at my videos, and I think I go through how many of them are there. Max, every night, 4 nights, but I'm doing like a mix of level 1, level 2, and 3. Now, Clover, you just got to keep practicing, all right? If you're good at achieved in merit, just keep practicing, and then eventually you'll get those questions where you're like, okay, this is just that 1 level up. Johnny, this was a 2019 parallel paper, so I just kind of reworded some of the questions. Sam, you would always get 2 solutions for shape question because it's a quadratic. Quadratic generally has like 2 questions, unless it's like, if it's a straight line, then you'll get like one answer, but if it's a quadratic, you're always going to get 2 answers. So now, Talia, what I'm doing is I'm pretty much picking up like 1 question from the past paper, and I'm converting it because it takes too long to write questions. I mean, we tried it with ChatGPT, and even with ChatGPT, some of the questions didn't actually come through. Clover, on Instagram and on YouTube community, I usually post a picture of when the streams are. $99. I would strongly recommend you to have a look at those other tutorials, because it's just, I don't want to confuse you here, and I take a lot more time doing that. So even if you have a look at my website, I have the quadratics one set up. Let me find it. So under live tutorials, if you go here, you're gonna find any one of these old tutorials on quadratic equations, and I think I go through the type of question that you're asking me right now. Jamie, at the moment I'm trying to do 5. Depends all on how much talking I do in class. Not tomorrow, Kiara. Tomorrow I'm doing level 2. Songzina, enough with the scholarship, man. I got so much work, it's not even funny. Like, I can't even keep up with this, like, just one level, and you guys want me to do like 3? That's insane. I had to, Oliver, because Some of my questions got, what is it? Some of my work got put in books in Egypt. Funny story, that one. So I've basically, long story short, like some of my questions, not questions, some of my videos got QR coded onto a textbook in Egypt, supposedly. $99, you need 3 questions correct for achieved. So it's not much, to be honest. Sam, and the reason, because why this question had 2 positive answers is because if you think about a rectangle, right? A rectangle, like look at this. Can't believe I'm going to use this as an example, but like, can you see this? Let me see. Yeah, so a rectangle could look like this, right? But a rectangle could also look like this. So that's why you're getting 2 positive answers in this case, because when the area is equal to each other, your rectangle could potentially look like this, where this is the base and this is the height. But then you could also get another version where the numbers could be squeezed out as well. It's just the way the ratios actually work in this case. That's all. So that's the only reason why you're getting like 2 kind of positive answers. How long does the average exam take? Usually, Raman, you're looking at about an hour for these exams. I don't think you're getting more than an hour. Jamie, you can have a look at, I'll actually, did I update the exam? Let me just have a look if I updated the 2022 one. Now, I've updated all the old exams, but like, look, you can go into my channel and you should be able to just find it. Like when you go straight into my channel, you're gonna find it right at the top there, like right there. All of my old exam papers are, wait, I realize I'm putting the wrong one there, right there. That's where all of my old exams are. Just click on the home page of my YouTube channel and then you will find all of the working there. $99, if you answer any 3 questions correctly, you potentially will get achieved for it. Like, but it's got to be like 1 in each sections. If you get 1 question correct in each section, you're gonna get an easy achieve. That's it. Excellence is different because sometimes you need 2, sometimes you need 3, depending on the paper. Like last year's paper, it was like 2 excellence and 2 merits. Fresh, any tips for approaching for the MCAT? Just practice, lots and lots of practice. Because I mean, like I've got tons and tons of resources there. Johnny BNZ, it's all right. I've been doing this since 2015, especially for the MCAT, which is I started in 2015, so it's almost coming to 8 years now. Clover, best way to do it is like do the questions like you know, I go through all my videos the way I kind of, you would have noticed even in this tutorial what I did was like I gave you a question and I gave you some time to kind of work through it. So if you're kind of watching my videos, then the best way to watch it is like have a look at the question, pause it, and then try and do it by yourself first. Because and then watch the video. Don't just watch the video. A lot of people do this. They just go watch the video and they go, oh, I've done my revision. That's not going to help you with MCAT. The best way to practice it is like try the question by yourself, and it doesn't matter if you get it wrong, you know. And I think that's really important, that you don't worry about getting things wrong. I mean, if you're getting things wrong, guess what? You're learning, so that's okay. In fact, it's better making like 25 mistakes now, because then you're gonna learn eventually, right? And it's okay to make mistakes now. No, tomorrow I'm doing a live stream for level 2s because I will ramp it up more towards, I think maybe next week I'll start doing like MCAT on repeat. Yeah, it's just the way it is. Now, in a Dashish, sorry if I say your name wrong. When you do a quadratic, you'll factorize and then you'll actually put it equal to 0. And that's the whole point of factorizing, because then you can actually say one of those brackets is equal to 0 and then you try and figure it out. So all of your answers should end up being, if you're working with a quadratic word problem, eventually you're going to end up with a quadratic equation equal to 0 and you've got to solve that. Alright guys, look, that is basically us for today. Wow, really? 3 hours. I know usually they get 1 hour unless things have changed, because I've not done an MCAT since 2017. But anyway guys, look, I'm going to call it a night here. Have a good night. Keep practicing those past papers. My final kind of little favor from you guys is this. As you guys see, we've got about 50 people that came today. Please spread the message. You know, I exist. I exist. That's all I can say. And there's lots of good revision material here. Just share it to a lot of people, because a lot of people don't know about this kind of thing that's happening here until like the night before MCAT. So feel free to share it around, and then I will catch you guys soon. Like, if I've got something on Wednesday, I did say no tutorial, but if I finish a bit early, then I'll come on Wednesday and then we can actually do another level 1 stream. Otherwise, we will go to the end of this weekend and we'll start again. Yeah, thank you, Jamie, for that feedback. Appreciate it. And also thank you for the shout out there, Clover. Just doing my little part for the day. Cool guys, I'm gonna take off now. Have a good one. It's gaming time. Just need one today. All right, take care. We'll see you. Like I said, if anything changes, I'll put it up on Instagram. Otherwise, I'll probably just show up if I'm not tired. If I'm tired on Wednesday, I'll probably go to sleep. So take care, and till then, keep practicing. All right, catch you.